Hi, I want to talk to you today about some things that every home seller in the DMV should know, particularly Montgomery County, Maryland, but all over DC, Maryland, and Virginia. There's been a lot of talk about sale prices, list prices, prices coming down, taking longer to sell, and that sort of thing. And while that's true, and you do have to pay attention to sale price, list price, that sort of thing, there are other aspects of putting a house on the market and getting a good price and getting it sold within a realistic amount of time. I want to talk to you about that today. It's not just price, there are other things too. And sometimes you'd be amazed at what you see when you go see a house on the market and you look and you go, well, here's a reason why this house isn't selling. So I want to talk to you about that and give you some things that are pluses to show you how to get your house on the market. And then I'm going to show you some things that I've seen with my own eyes that don't make any sense at all as to why someone would put it on the market with these sorts of things. All right, so here we go. The first thing you have to know is that buyers shop online primarily. And if your home doesn't wow them with the photos online, they may not even come see your house. And this is a numbers game. You want to get as many people through the house in as short amount of time as possible. And that's when you have your best prospects for getting a good price and getting it sold quickly. So the first thing I want to do is to give you some advice on how to make your home stand out when you put it on the market. It's very easy to do. Some things are more expensive than others, but I'm going to show you some things, and every one of them will have an impact on days on market and your ultimate sale price. Presentation matters. The average buyer tours 8 to 10 homes in person after they've looked at dozens online and ruled in or out what they like or don't like. So 8 to 10 houses after they've already seen dozens. And you want to make sure that yours isn't the one they've passed on before they've set up their tours for some bright, sunny Sunday afternoon. So that means your staging, your photos, your presentation matter. Many times what the buyer sees online is your first and only impression. So keep that in mind. Poorly presented homes sit longer on the market and they sell for less. According to the National Association of Realtors 2025 Profile of Home Staging, 83% of agents said staging helps buyers visualize the property as their future home. And 17% of buyers agents said it increased their offer price by 1 to 5%. So that's a lot of money. Without staging, they sometimes have a difficulty with context and proximity of this to that and how my furniture is going to fit and that sort of thing. So staging helps people visualize them actually being in the home. So that's very important. And 58% of agents said it increases the offer that they get on the home as much as 1 to 5% in many cases. Staged homes can sell 3 to 4 times faster than those that aren't staged. It used to be that staging a home was kind of a luxury for those people who had the money to spend, but it's becoming more and more a basic requirement to marketing your house and getting a good price in a short amount of time. So staging is very important, but even simple things like decluttering and making the decor a bit neutral can make a big difference. And here's something to know. The improvements you make do not have to be expensive. There are simple things, inexpensive things that can make a big difference when you put your house on the market. Here are a few tips. First, deep clean the house. Clean it like it's never been cleaned before. Clean it to a white glove standard. Clean the corners, scrub the refrigerator, get the windows cleaned. These will all make a big difference when you actually put your house in the market and your visitors come see it. And when you wash the windows, remove the screens, put them in the garage, put them in the basement. The problem with screens is that while they're a very beneficial thing to a house once you live in it, they make the house look darker. They make the windows look dirtier. And if they're damaged in any way, it shows up right away. So take the screens out, wash the windows. That will make an amazing change in how your house looks. And that's something that could cost you a couple $100 at most if you have a professional do it. Now, this next tip may seem silly, it may seem stupid, but I'm going to tell you it does make a difference. When you're touring a house, it's something you're going to see and make note of, even if you don't mention it consciously. And that's clean the HVAC system and the water heater. Wipe them down. Make them look like they're new, even if they aren't new. If they don't look new, then the buyer's going to wonder if there's something wrong with them. So wipe them down, clean them up, and that will make a big difference. Declutter and clean out your closets. There's nothing wrong with putting things in the closets to keep it out of the way. But a full closet makes a buyer think that there's no storage space in your place. So you want to thin it out, downsize it a bit, get rid of things that you haven't used in a while, put them in boxes, put them in baskets, whatever, get them out of the way, but definitely make your closets look like there is in fact room to store things. That's important. Take a look at your bathrooms. Is there dark streaks, black mold, that sort of thing in the corners? Take some Clorox and clean it. If it does need to be recaulked, get that done. Again, it's not a very expensive sort of thing, and it makes your house look better. And if you've got hardwood floors, it's a good idea to refinish them. Sometimes that's not feasible, especially if you're living in the place. So there are products on the market that will make them look nice, make them look like they're newer when they're in fact not. They're very inexpensive. You can do it yourself or you can hire someone to apply it. But there are some really excellent products on the market that will shine up some worn floors to make them look great for the photos and for your first tours. Outside the house often gets missed. This is really, really important. When people show up to your house, the first place they're going to look is at the front of the house from the curb. If the grass isn't cut, the shrubs need trimming, the mulch is spotty, plants are wilted, that makes an immediate bad impression on the person that's going to come inside. So you want to start the positive experience in your house from the curb before they even get out of the car to come on inside. Now, if you have the money to invest, and I stress invest because none of these things should be looked upon as costs. They should all be looked upon as investments to get a return on your investment. And that is updating the bathrooms and the kitchen. If the kitchen hasn't been updated in a while, you can get up to $1, maybe even $1.50 for every dollar spent on that renovation. Update it, make it look clean, make it look modern. That will make a big difference. If you can make that, if you do in fact have the ability to make that investment, it generally will come back to you and then some. But if you can't, even smaller improvements like replacing the drawer pulls, replacing a couple of lighting fixtures, replacing ceiling fans if they're there, do those kinds of things. They definitely help make the house look more modern and they make it look like that it's not been sitting around for the last 15 years not having been cared for. Now, what you want to do is focus on value. You don't want to focus on custom upgrades. You don't want to even make it look like you'd want to live there because you're not. You want to make this look somewhat sterile, somewhat retail, and look like it was a furniture store just opened up. The last thing you want to do is base any improvements you're making on your personal taste. And there's nothing wrong with your taste, they're excellent, but they don't necessarily appeal to the masses, and that's what you're trying to do here. Professional photography is non-negotiable in my estimation. Buyers decide within a few seconds of having seen the photos online whether they're going to come to your house, whether they're going to jump in the car, whether they're going to come to an open house or whatever you've got going on to actually take a personal look at the house within seconds. So, like I said at the beginning here, if they don't wow them, they're going to ignore you. Listings with professional photos get 61% more views and sell 32% faster. Now, with any improvements you're going to do, you want to be surgical in your approach. And by that, I mean, don't just pot shoot and do whatever you can, whatever you think you can, because you want to do what you're going to do so that it gets you a return and not just to make the house look prettier. The point of what you're doing is to actually market the house and make it look appealing, make it look like people want it, and then they will. Now that I've told you a bit about what you should do to get your house ready for market, I'm going to show you some things I've actually seen with my own two eyes in listings I've walked into that make me cringe. I can't even believe someone would allow their house to go on the market, much less their agent, with things that I've shown. So I'm going to show these to you right here. The first one here is a photo of the HVAC and the water heater. See the crud on top? Looks kind of disgusting. And while you kind of expect it in your own house to be in the basement or in the utility room, don't pay much attention to it, so you don't worry about it. But when you're showing a house as an agent and you see that, the buyer immediately goes over and looks at it as if it were old and outdated. Whereas if it were cleaned up, there's going to be a less of a chance of that. So it doesn't mean you're trying to hide something, but if your HVAC and your water heater are in fine condition, why bring attention to them? Now check out the screens in these windows. See the holes? These were in an actual house I saw. I took some buyers to a couple of weeks ago. It was kind of amazing to see that. And then look at the dirt smudges on the windows themselves. Yuck. And here's a picture of some grass outside of a house I was showing. See how long it is, unkempt it looks? It's a simple matter of, if you can't do it, getting someone to cut the grass. For a few weeks, a month or two, to have to do that is really worth the effort, is really worth the small cost that's going to happen. Now here, they installed a pantry in a kitchen that needed one desperately. Great idea. But the thermostat was right where the frame of the pantry was going to be, and they didn't bother to move it. So it looks a little bit odd to have the thermostat covered up by the framing of the door. Just kind of looks weird, doesn't it? Power washing may cost you a couple of $100, but it'll get rid of the residues, it'll get rid of mold, it'll get rid of mildew. And as soon as a person sees that, the first thing they want to do is start ticking numbers off the sale price or the offer price they're going to give you. So when you're listing your house, price is important. This is a market where the buyer has some say. Again, it's not like a couple of years ago where you listed on Thursday, you had a contract by Tuesday. There is the potential for negotiation. People are doing inspections. However, it doesn't end with the price you set. People have to see value. If it doesn't look like your house is cared for, that's going to cost you some money. If it doesn't look like it's been kept up with, that's going to cost you some money. So you can set whatever price you want, but you might have to set it lower if you haven't taken some steps to actually bring the house into good repair. So I hope you found this information valuable. When you market a house, there are right things to do and there are wrong things to do. There are do's and there are don'ts. I hope some of what I've given you here gives you a better advantage so that if you do put your house on the market, you have a better chance of getting a higher price and you have a better chance of getting it sold in a more reasonable amount of time. I look forward to your feedback. Thanks.